Hey y'all, what's up? It's Noelle with Baker's Backyard Bounty. It's been a minute since I've hopped on. I got in the bad habit of putting off garden chores until I could film, and then, that was a whole nother commitment, so things weren't getting done. So I just took a few days to just do the things, and now I'll catch you up to speed. So thanks for being here. Today, my kids are at school, and so I had a couple of therapy clients online, and then I'd run out in between sessions and work in the garden. And so if you wear a lipstick and a fancy hair clip, I stole this from my kids, you could just bebop between professional mode and garden mode like that. Pro tip. So I was sweaty and all the things, but the hair clip made me feel like a real adult. So anyways, all that to say, today I've been doing some work. So those hay bales that I was so excited about because we grew melons in them. They did really well. They did break down into compost, but today I went to move them from the area they were in to the side garden where we're going to be planting carrots and greens and cabbages, for some nice compost topper to the side bed where the chickens prepared. And I found 4 snakes. So I really am on the fence if we're going to be doing any more hay bales in our garden, because I love nature, but y'all, I saw tails coming out of the straw bale. So I got a stick and I flung those suckers. You're probably not supposed to fling snakes, and they weren't huge. They were probably about yay long, but I'm just not here for it. So last night Lily was actually this is where one row of the hay bales was, and she was just playing, jumping in between them, jumping in that tall grass. I mean, honestly, it makes sense why there were some snakes there. I mean, look at that. I made it impossible for Reed to mow, but I flipped them all over and again discovered 4, and we're gonna leave these because these are cherry tomatoes and they're actually starting to do really well with the lack of heat. But if you can see, look at the ground underneath. It's just really rich, good soil. I'm being paranoid. I'm tiptoeing over here. I know I can fling him. So see, this is it flipped over. Wouldn't that be crazy if a snake jumped out the camera? Okay, and so if you can see how it's turned into dirt and the insides are really nice and juicy. So this is a win-win. We grew the melons, I pulled them out, and then now we're getting compost. So typically when it comes to transitioning from the summer garden to the fall, I feel a lot of sadness and gripping in my soul because I want to just hang on to plants because, they start producing when it gets cooler. They do better, but then I have no room for the fall crops, and I'm really mad and kicking myself when it's November and the frost has killed everything and my fall starts are still this big because I planted them too late. So I'm trying to learn and do some wisdom this year. So we pulled out the melons, even though there was 2 watermelons and 3 Kajari melons still left. They weren't fully ripe, but I yanked them out, made myself do it. We cut them open, and the girls had the best time scooping out the seeds with spoons and eating them, even though they weren't fully ripe. But they had a blast, and then they fed them to our little baby chickens and the big chickens. So everyone got to enjoy melons, even though it wasn't really an ideal full ripe plump watermelon, but we made the most of it. Please tell me other people struggle with pulling out plants. I mean, I really am just a hoarder. I need to go to therapy for this. It's hard for me to let go in life and in relationships and in plants, and that's for my therapist. I'll talk to her about it. Okay, so we're here on the side, y'all. It looks terrible right now. We're gonna take out all those sunflowers. We're going to redo these water barrels. So all of this is nice and ripe because the chickens were over here for a few months. So we have lots of chicken poop, and they scratched it up. They prepared it well for us. These are the hay bales broken open. So the straw will actually serve as some good mulch. And then you can see just the juicy dirt that was made. And as they break down, it'll just get better and better. We're actually going to add compost from our kitchen scraps as well. So this will be really good and prepared, hopefully in the next week, for cabbages, greens, and carrots. Now right here, I have the sprinkler on. I typically don't use the sprinkler, but I really want to get the garden bed watered deeply because I'm planting brassicas here today. It's actually fully planted. I have Brussels sprouts, some purple kohlrabi, which I've never grown kohlrabi before. You should Google it. It's kind of alien looking. and then cauliflower and some broccolis in this bed. So I'm doing all my brassicas here because they get eaten by, this is kind of gross, but because of our chicken food, we do have some rats. And I left my plant stars out here overnight one night, and like half of them got eaten because of the rats. So first it was like the moths and the bugs in the garage that ate my start. So I went out and bought a bunch of plants just to make myself feel better. Like you can see, these are broccoli starts. They're not the ones that I started from seed, but I bought them at Lowe's. And pro tip, we have a credit card that we pay off, I mean, every month. Like we don't abuse it, but we get points, and you can use your points at Lowe's. And so that's actually how we've paid for a bunch of our garden stuff. Now, if you struggle with budgeting and stuff, I do not recommend getting a credit card to pay for garden things. But it's one way that we are able to provide for our garden is through those points. So I used our points to make myself feel better and buy some starts while also still nurturing my seedlings, which are coming back. Brassicas are pretty resilient. Like even though all the leaves were bitten off, there are still leaves coming up from the sad stems. So I have hope. But these, I actually have some frost fabric, this white stuff right here, that I'm putting over it. I did put it over and put bricks down so that the rabbits and rats and stuff wouldn't get to the plants, but it actually like hotboxed them. I don't know if that's the right gardening term. It hotboxed my brassicas and actually caused them to wilt. So I'm now just doing it loosely over, and then at night I come out and just secure it with some more bricks when all the critters come out. So it's just something you got to stay on top of. I've lost 2 fall gardens now just to garden critters, and I'm just kind of tired of it. I want to eat some broccoli and some cauliflower and some Brussels sprouts, dang it. Come on now. So it's been this whole dance, like rotating. So these are some broccolis. Like I'm gonna show you here. Okay, sad stem, totally got eaten, but look at that. Okay, we're getting some action. I got another little nub right there. Broccoli nubs, that might be the title of this video. But so broccoli went in here, and again, I just put that frost fabric gently on top as we have the baby chickens rotating around, scratching up the bed, pooping on it. This is okra, which will come out. These are tomatoes. We still have hope. We're still waiting for that crop to just pop through. I'm just not ready to give it up yet. And then today, oh, that's a beautiful green. Look at all this color. I took out peppers. I left the shishitos and jalapeno because we're still enjoying those, but the bell peppers I went ahead and took out and replaced with cauliflowers and broccoli and kohlrabi. And my chickens are enjoying all the fruits of that. So they've been picking through. Our chickens are molting, which is like a normal process. If you're new to chickens, you may think that someone had died or there was a massacre with the amount of feathers, but they're molting, and so we've been getting like 1 egg every 3 or 4 days. I'm gonna go ahead and cover my broccoli up. So this time of year is always, it's just a dance, you know, like things have to get sun to grow because the days are about to be a lot shorter, and so things will grow slower because of that. So you want it to get sun, but then if they get too hot, then that's not good for brassicas. So it's a dance. With the fall garden, you just kind of, well, I'm telling myself this, you have to be patient. That is really how I've lost my fall gardens, is not being consistent with like taking care of the plants, covering them, uncovering them, and then starting too late. So just kind of like my character flaws, procrastination, and then lack of discipline have killed my last 2 fall gardens, but not this year, baby. I'm doing it. So let's go ahead and see. My professional clip is getting stuck on the, the bird netting. Let's see if there's any eggs. Oh, got one, let's see. No, I'm paranoid about snakes, just part of it. All right, this is a white one. I think that comes from our Sicilian buttercup. Reed thinks it's a different chicken laying, but I think it's her. Hi, Stacy. This is the chicken my daughter found in our backyard. Legit found it, and she named her Stacy. And she has rocked her and sang Frozen songs to her, Let It Go, and just loved her hard. They've been laying down here at their roost as well, my Americanas have, but no, not today. So one thing was at the beginning of this season, when I was trying to get the flower market going, I realized I had like a kind of like some gaps in my, I guess, catalog for my garden for cut flowers, and one of them was greenery. I did plant honeywort, which was beautiful. I had mint, but I did buy a few varieties of basil. Like one is a variegated variety and one is like purple basil, just because they had beautiful coloration. I don't really like the taste of either of them, but I use them in bouquets. So what I did is I dug up some celosia plants, some of my basil plants, and I potted them so that I can bring them indoors for the winter and hopefully not have to buy them again next year. I can pop them in the ground, they'll be established, and I can use them again. So I'm just trying to like preserve some of the cut flower garden in that way. I did plant poppy seeds. I planted I'm starting some snapdragon seeds. And just so you know, like there's a difference in snapdragon seeds. There's the ones that you think of from like Lowe's that are short and squatty. But really when we're doing like a cut flower garden or a cottage garden, we buy seeds for the tall varieties. So I did Opus and Madam Butterfly blend from Johnny's Seeds. I went ahead and I'm starting just some of those. I just want to see how they do through the winter. I was looking up on the internet this book called, I think it's called Cool Flowers, but this woman talks about in our zone, I'm in like zone 8, and I think she's in 7, but how she would do certain varieties of flowers through the winter so that early spring she got a harvest. And she's a flower farmer. So I'm gonna try that because it's so hard just waiting, and a little bit stressful, waiting for things to flower when you start them, you know, in like February, March in the garage, and it's just kind of slow going. So now that we have some of the sun and the heat of the summer, I feel like that is a really good jolt to get things started and going, and then protecting them over the winter so that early spring they can really come in, boom smack. I'm not even gonna show you my house, but look at, I'm trying to get some aloe vera started, cold coffee. This is just a portion of the okra. I have okra and shishitos left over in this bucket, bell peppers. Yesterday I made pickled jalapenos. I'm trying to preserve, but y'all, it takes time and effort. I've been dehydrating herbs, and I tried dehydrating some okra. It was disgusting, so I'm gonna start over with that. But that's also like something that's been happening lately is I want to preserve as much as I can from the summer garden. I have 2 young kids. I'm starting to see clients again. Reed has been like super sick, and then he was out of town. So just this whole combination is moral of the story, I just feel super behind, and I've caught myself really like beating myself up of like, why are you so behind? Why are you procrastinating? Why are you not getting all this stuff done? Like, you got to make pickled peppers, and you need to make pickled okra, and you need to be making more Italian seasoning, dehydrating that. And I just have like come to a place of like, I can't do it all. So today, while the kids were gone, I knew I was gonna work. I need to clean the house. I'm just showing you this right here. This is the magic of the camera. But it's like an explosion in my house. There's a weird smell somewhere. I cannot find it. I don't know if the dog did its business somewhere or whatever. I've been hunting for the smell all morning. And I really just had to say, I've been getting phone calls. I've really just had to say like, okay, I'm setting a boundary. For this amount of time, I'm going to work in the garden. For this amount of time, I'm going to preserve some food and chip away at it slowly. And the mantra has been, and I've probably mentioned this before, but good enough is good enough, right? Because I can't do it all. Like, my kids are going to eat chicken nuggets and mac and cheese, and that's fine by me, right? Because I can't have this like elaborate home cooked meal every night. Leftovers are really our godsend. So all that to say, I'm trying to keep my head above water with it and still enjoy the garden and not treat it like a chore, and that ebbs and flows. So just know that like you can only do what you can do. Everyone's in a different season of life. But if you want to get started gardening, don't wait until the spring. Like, start some lettuce. That's so easy. Just sprinkle out some lettuce seed and have some fresh salads, or radishes grow really quick, like put some radish seeds out there in between your broccolis or the things that are more slow growing, the cauliflowers. Just do things that keep you motivated. So for me, that's growing things that days to harvest on the back of the packet are quick, like radishes or lettuce. Things that make me feel like a sense of accomplishment. I have to do that when I feel down or overwhelmed. And then buying some plant starts. And it is not the most cost efficient way to garden. A pack of seeds definitely is. But sometimes just getting a pack of seed starts, like for vegetables or something like that, or flowers, just helps me have some inspiration in the garden and a little bit of motivation. So those are my two things. Last video was about the pity party and eating all the mayo things and cream cheese things. And today, just like buy you some plant starts if you're feeling overwhelmed by the transition of the garden. But that's really all I have for you guys today. I would love to know if you have any good recipes for pickling peppers or okra. And I would also love to know what things you're starting for your fall garden. So let me know. It's so fun to collaborate instead of just film myself. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. May you find the bounty in your own life, all the beauty that it holds, and we will see you soon.